Hey, Salut Friends. Today I'm sharing my impressions of two new releases from the houses Guerlain and Serge Lutens. I do not have full bottles of any, just a sample, and the Guerlain I'm actually wearing today as my scent of the day and have it sprayed on this blotter. First up is Jour from Serge Lutens. This is from their Matin collection, which does not get talked about a lot, but it has some interesting fragrances. They are more so positioned to be morning pick-me-up scents just before shower or just after the shower. Not your typical fruity or musky smells, more so herbal aromatic concoctions. They actually use notes which are usually darker, leaning toward the cold weather but in a fresh way. Parole d'eau has been on my buy list for some time. This green herbal pine eucalyptus fresh scent. Though they are said to be for morning rituals, I find them wearable during the day, running errands and so forth. Last for a decent duration too. This one, Jour, is a 2024 release, assuming it's created by Christopher Sheldrake. Focuses on thyme, sage and eucalyptus, so it is very much within the style of this collection. Thyme is the dominant note for me. They claim thyme absolute, so it is rather realistic, herbal, medicinal, aromatic, green, and slightly camphoriferous. It's like how your hands smell if you're cooking with fresh thyme from the garden or having a thyme tea, opening up a container with thyme inside and so forth. Pretty unadulterated smell. Additionally, it has clary sage and eucalyptus, which are also herbal and aromatic. All three together create this medicinal, slightly scratchy, lemony, minty, somewhat ozonic smell. It is not intense though, still fresh, clean and uplifting, as if these herbs are drenched in water. Additionally, I'm getting facets of mint, lemon, incense and cedar. All these might just be the herbs playing trick. It is rather nice, quite a deviation from boring citrus colognes. Interesting name as well, Pont du Jour meaning dawn. It is a commonly used phrase in French. In fact, there is a quarter called Pont du Jour near where I live. I've even seen a lot of books with the name, wondering if Serge meant for the name to have some literary connotation. Anyway, I like it, very natural smelling, enjoy the contrast of using herbs with a darker side in a fresh scent. Just a bit too simple, an aromatherapy section smelling for me. Thyme also has that culinary association, so I would rather go with Parole d'eau or Dans le bleu qui pétille over this. Next, let's go to Patchouli Paris from Guerlain. This is a July 2024 release from their Arts and Materials collection, created by their in-house perfumer, Delphine Jelk. They sure are cracking this out, aren't they? Last year there were 2 EDPs and 6 extraits. This year there was a Neroli and some other older releases have been discontinued. I wonder if there will be more. I saw this yesterday at the Guerlain boutique by complete accident. No idea that it was being released. And obviously with Patchouli in the name, I just directly doused myself in it. This is a nod to Parisian summer nights according to the blurb. When I first played this, I was really into it because it starts with this nicely balanced opening of aldehydes and patchouli. Again, we are seeing this mini trend of aldehydic perfumes this year after New Look, Comet and Acne Studios. The aldehydes are not in a similar vein as Chanel's, but much more simmering, plush and smooth, not pushing out, bubbly or effervescent. What it does is really giving this fresh, rounded, airy expansion to the patchouli. Speaking of which, the patchouli is the main note, obviously as it says on the tin. It is not an ambery, vanillic, sandalwood patchouli, nor a dense sort of cross-section of a brownie like chocolate patchouli. This is a more intimate, light-handed, smooth, silky patchouli. None of that scratchy texture in here. Yes, there are some hints of dankness and earthiness, but it is overall a soft patchouli for me. If I have to give some references, not that they are the same, but I could say Noire patchouli from Histoire de Parfum or Moonlight patchouli from Van Cleef & Arpels, but just because of the direction. In terms of wearing experience though, it is more like how Celine would do a patchouli or Coromandel after 6 hours into the dry down. There is a big iris in here, which by complete coincidence reminded me of Les Nuits from Astier de Villat, which is also another iris patchouli fragrance I talked about a couple of days ago, created as a nod to Parisian nights. What also adds to this levity is this smooth, lightly powdery iris which I think is the third dominant note here. It gives that elegance, the posh disposition of this collection. So the aldehydes, iris, patchouli are what I was getting for the immediate dry down of the scent. And I have to say it is probably the most interesting thing that Guerlain has put out in a long time. For being a patchouli, it did not remind me too much of other perfumes. It is not ambery sweet, which is usually the case, and they paired the patchouli with iris and aldehydes as the main focus. I don't think I have seen this particular way of combining these notes before. It also came across like it was embracing a bit of the hippie side of Paris, marginally old-fashioned too, and even took a risk here. So I thought, good for them. They even tried with the neroli, to be fair, by pairing it with spices and so on in Neroli Blanc Sud, but that was like a misjudged indie perfume at the end. They speak of the red glow of lights during the night in Paris, River Seine, celebrations and so forth. Even the perfume is reddish. I wonder if it is referring to Moulin Rouge or something, but I don't get much red here. The image I get is this sort of greyish sage green. In fact, the part I was not big on is the later dry down. Like I said, the scent itself is soft, so the patchouli becomes minimal very quickly under a couple of hours on my skin. All that is left is this musky, somewhat powdery smell. They even mention an ambergris accord. I kind of get that. This salty, ever so slightly marine breeze walking near a pond or a river, maybe even clean sweat-like smell, which is a bit dull at the end of the day. Also a touch of vanilla, which is not so sweet, more so plush, bringing this ivory sheen to the patchouli. The fragrance does not last terribly long after that, becomes a skin scent quickly. I really wish the patchouli and iris stayed longer in the dry down instead of going fast to the musks. Either way, I like testing it. It is like the smell of summer nights, strolling through the old gardens and monuments, overdressed after the end of the main event. Certainly one of the more interesting releases from Guerlain in recent years. Would I buy it? Not really. I don't think I like it enough to get a bottle. Plus, I refuse to pay the prices that Guerlain asks for this collection at retail. It is a very soft wearing experience too. And on top of that, I have the patchouli dominant perfumes I mentioned, like La Nuit and Coromandel. I would not dismiss it. It is one that I will likely continue to revisit in the following months and see how it goes down the line. If it is not discontinued, that is. Either way, those have been my impressions of Pon du Jour and Patchouli Paris. Thanks for watching, take care and ciao.